Hello and welcome to Ivycreates. I'm Deanna Carroll. Go and click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our videos on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching, and leave us a comment below so we know what you're thinking. We do go back and read them, so have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy this craft. Hello, I'm so glad you joined us today. The first project that I'm going to do is a wood cutout of the state of Mississippi. I will put a link in the section below for you to be able to find where I got this wood cutout. And it'll be a perfect ornament for somebody you know in whatever state they live in, for Christmas or what have you. So the first thing that I did, and I will tell you, I always make mistakes, everybody does. I should have painted over the wording. I thought the rocks would cover it well, and in the end it does, but I really should have just painted the white base first. So I'm using a type of like a small seagrass. I think I got it at Michael's. It was a vase filler or something. I do know though that they now sell things like this at the Dollar Tree. So I'm just gluing this onto the front, and there's also some sharded mirror. It's like blue sharded mirror pieces that are a little different color than the sea glass. And I'll be putting those, I'm putting those down on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi because that's where we are. And I made a little heart out of them as well further up in the States. So the ornament will have a heart in the middle of it. So I'm just steadily gluing on, and this is a very simple process. It's not hard. Using my glue gun and gluing on all the little rocks and the shards of mirror to make like a mosaic. And since we are on the Gulf Coast, it's kind of a representation of the water we have here. And people they tend to like things from their state and from their area. A big thing right now around here is zip codes. Everybody loves to have zip codes on everything. So doing a wood cutout, this wood cutout cost me $1. Yes, people, $1. And I have used these bags of rocks for several different projects, so they've made me quite happy. And they've gone a really long way. So you'll see it just takes a little bit of time because they are small, and the sea glass has like a little glitter to it also, but they are small, but you'll get to see what the final product is, and it came out really, really cute, and I'm real happy with it. Okay, now you can see I finished gluing down all of my little rocks, and you can kind of still see a little bit of the wording that was under it. And the wording that I'd put on this is "Home is where the heart is," which I thought was appropriate. So it's sealed in there, and it's there with the ornament right now. So I'm just adding more. I kept adding more of the little mirror shards until it looked like the heart that I wanted it to look like. Please leave a comment below and let me know how you like this project. This is one of 3 in this video, and I would love to know what you think about the different projects. Just making sure that all the little nooks and crannies are all fit in, because on any mosaic, the main thing you want to do is make sure you fill as much as you possibly can before you go grouting on it. And in our grouting situation, we're not going to be using what you think of as grout. There are many different things you can use for a grout type situation. So you can see it looks good with this little heart and everything. And the lower counties are then the darker mirrored color. So what I did after this is I used my favorite thing, which is the Scribbles fabric paint. And it's the raised Scribbles fabric paint, and it's pearl because, you know, pearl. And so I use that as my grout. And I will say that I did go over this and it's raised, but I did go back and do a second coat after the first coat dried. Part of that was because I had trouble locating my glitter, which is a whole nother story. But I used a second coat on it just to give it that added extra because I really didn't want to see the wording that had left beneath the cutout, beneath the rocks. So I filled it with my grout, which is a Scribbles fabric paint. I use the fabric paint for all kinds of stuff. And after that, I go and put in some of my extra fine glitter because, you know, you got to have magic, right? So magic's got to be in everything I do, and extra fine glitter just adds that little bit of magic, and that sinks into the fabric paint and just adds a little touch of sparkle every time it moves. This is also great for doing, and I may do some later on. Let me know if you think you would like it. But I've done Christmas ornaments like this, like gluing the shells down and using the fabric paint as, you know, the grout, and then putting the glitter in it, and they come out really beautiful. So let me know if you'd like to see that. Thank you so much for being here and for watching with me today. I think you're going to enjoy all of these crafts. They're all very different and very fun, very cheap too. I probably have maybe $2 into this little state of Mississippi. So now I'm just cleaning up the back surface, painting on the back so that it looks nice and neat, and brushing off any excess glitter or anything that would show up on it. And I turn my painting placemat over so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm cleaning it off with some window cleaner, Sprayway. Alright, and here's our finished product. I hope you enjoy. You can't really see much of the glitter, you know, on the screen. It doesn't really show that. So now we're on to making our butterfly angel, and that is a butterfly cutout, a wood butterfly cutout from, I believe, Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I think it was Michael's actually. And of course, you know, it only cost me about 35 cents. And then there's the little, it's like a doll for a dollhouse that's wooden, and you would normally just paint that to use or play with in a dollhouse, and those were on sale, so I thought, yeah, that's great. So they come forward to a pack, and I don't think I paid maybe $1.25 for that. So all total less than $3. I'm gonna have this really cute shabby chic kind of butterfly angel, and I'm just painting it with white Dixie Belle and making it very, very simple. That is one thing you can always do to make something look a little bit classier, a little bit different. I mean, you could paint this any way you wanted it. If you wanted it to look like a butterfly, if you wanted it to look for a kid, you can do that. But to make it look more adult and to make it look a little classier, if you stick with all one color, then you'll have that shabby chic kind of look. So I'm just checking because I was drying everything and trying to see how it fits together. and I want my angel to be able to either stand or hang from the tree. So I will be putting a hook on it to hang on the tree, but I do want it to be able to stand just in case. Now at this point I am taking once again my Pearl Scribbles fabric paint, and it's 3D fabric paint, and you use it like you're frosting a cake. That's the only way I can say it, and I absolutely love that because it's thicker and it's got a little more dimension to it. And so I'm just going around making a design around the wings on the butterfly to give it that little added something. I gotta add my magic, and I will be adding my magic glitter and some of my magic gold. So there we go, is a little pattern on the wings, and I'm gonna let that dry after I put glitter on it. Gotta have the glitter. It's the extra fine iridescent glitter that I love to put on just about everything. There's several things that I put on just about everything. One of them's glitter, the other one's gold, and the third one is glow-in-the-dark stuff. And that goes into some of my paintings people don't know about. So I'm going to set the wings to the side and put my excess glitter back in my jar because I don't like to waste it. It's not easy to find that particular glitter. So now I've got my little piece of gold chenille stem that I'd gotten from the Dollar Tree, and I used it on a different angel that I'd done. And the thing is it's gold, but it was too bright of a gold. I prefer to have an antique looking gold, so I'll break out my folk art royal gold paint, and I'm just painting the chenille stem so that it will be the right color of gold instead of the bright, really brassy looking stuff. This will give it more of that shabby chic look and antique it down. Now I could do any of these processes with antiquing with a dark brown instead of royal gold. It's just my preference to use the royal gold. So if you had a thin dark brown or something, or a stain, you could do that as well, and it would give you probably the same effect, maybe a little darker. But I just prefer to use the royal gold as a paint on the halo. I used to get those little wedding rings for halos, and you can't find them anywhere anymore, the little gold wedding rings. So now I've taken some jute twine and tied 2 pieces around her neck, and one of them is going to be for a bow in the front, and the other was going to be for a hook to hang it with in the back. And so I'm taking the glue gun and I'm putting her halo on. And when I do a halo on an angel, I just fill the whole top with glue, and then I take that little extra fine glitter and fill it in. It's kind of like hair, but not really, but it fills in and makes sure that the halo stays steady. So that's what I did, and then now I'm going to glue my angel to my butterfly wings. And this is the simplest craft, so simple and so adorable. You could do bunches of these because it cost me, I think, maybe $2, if that. And it came out really super cute. These are things you can do, with friends, with your kids, 4 people, and if you did a bunch of them on a tree, it would look fabulous. So the last project that we're going to be doing today is actually going to be a gift for my sister. And she loves the colors of purple and green, and I don't mean like, she's purple, green, and her walls are like a soft yellow. But we're not talking about Mardi Gras colors. It's not bright colors like that. They're muted, they're soft, it's very nice and pretty. Mardi Gras colors can be obnoxious, purple, green, and gold. So anyways, I got this lovely hydrangea napkin, and I thought of her. I thought it was so pretty. And so I Mod Podged it to a wood cutout of a cross that I think I got from the Dollar General, and I paid maybe $1 for it. So I'm just Mod Podging it onto the cross, which is dimensional cross. It has 2 little pieces glued together. And then I'm drying off, the napkin that I did. So the napkins, of course, I will reuse for other things as well as this project here. So those things, my cost on that is absolutely minimum. So now I am using the sander, my little sanding piece, to sand off any excess of the napkins around the cross, because I don't want the edges to be all dirty and stuff. I just sand it off, and that makes it really easy. And you sand in a downward motion so that it doesn't tear or rip any of the front of the cross. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I had a frame, an 8x10 frame that I bought from Walmart. It was on sale for $2.50. So I took the cardboard out of the frame, and this is what I am painting now. I'm using my Dixie Belle white to paint the cardboard that was actually in the frame behind the glass. And the reason why is I intend to Mod Podge that beautiful orchid napkin that's over there to the side. That's gray, and I'm gonna Mod Podge it on there. And because you rip off, when you Mod Podge, you tear off the layers of napkin until you have just the top layer. And this is the little frame that I'd gotten for $2.50. So I'm going to, because I'm going to Mod Podge it, I wanted to paint it white so that the brown would not show through, because the napkins are so thin that if any color is on whatever you're Mod Podging it to, it will show through the napkin. So make sure that you've got whatever color you want. Now, I've had that to where it adds good value to some things, but for most things I like it painted white, so it can be just, you know, a blank canvas, so to speak. Now this is my Mod Podge, and I don't actually use Mod Podge. For the most part, I use polyacrylic Minwax clear coat. It's just a thing that I do. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but that's just something I like to do. Please leave me a comment and tell me what you think about that. So now I'm going to put my napkin on there very, very carefully. Try to get it down the first time, and it doesn't really go, but it's very hard to move a napkin once it's been laid onto Mod Podge, because it wants to tear real easily, because you're using only the very top layer of the napkin to Mod Podge onto your surface. So now, and I will tell you, thinking back on this, using a stencil brush or like one of those little round foam stencil brushes would probably be a better idea than using a paintbrush. I tend to pick up a paintbrush for everything because that's just me, but using some little sponge or something and patting it down to make sure that all of the napkin is absorbed into the Mod Podge would probably be the best idea. So you want to wait until this is completely dry before you take the sides and the edges off. But you can start to get an idea of what it looks like, and that is my puppy. I apologize. Alright, now here you can see I'm just going to dry it out for, you know, with the heat gun. And with the heat gun, you do need to be careful. My heat gun, you can get them from any hardware store, but my heat gun gets very, very hot, and it will burn almost anything if you leave it there long enough. So do be careful, watch what you're doing, and like with acrylic paints, it does bubble. With the chalk paints, it does not. And it can, you know, like in the chenille stems and the plastic hair of the baby dolls, it'll curl and disappear, and you don't really want that. So do be careful when you're using a heat gun. But it's very good for us impatient people who really want to get done really quick. You can get it dried really fast. Now you could actually tuck this napkin in behind if you've got space in your frame. I ended up cutting most of it off, but you get an idea of what it looks like. And I had given my sister an orchid for a present for, I don't remember what, but she's actually got it. It's surviving and blooming. I have several orchids and I love them. All right, now you can see I'm adding, now I had bought this purple grosgrain ribbon from the Dollar Tree again. So that's, see, the frame was $2.50, the ribbon was $1, the cross was $1, and the napkin was probably $2. So it doesn't cost very much at all. We're talking really, really under $10, maybe even under $5. And so I cut the grosgrain ribbon. It's a dark purple. It looks blue on the screen, but I assure you it's a dark purple. And I'm just gluing that around the edges, almost like as if it were a mat for the frame. And so this is what's going to go in my frame. And I will say this also, I used the cardboard that came with the frame. Next time, if I do another one, I might choose to use maybe a poster board, because this cardboard was rather thick. And when I put everything into the frame, because I had the ribbon and, you know, you've got the napkin on it, and it was rather thick and hard to fit into the frame. Now I am doing what I typically do as far as aging things. Instead of using the brown or brown stain or paint, I tend to use gold. And so I'm kind of going around hitting the edges using the gold on the cross. I also like the napkins, when you Mod Podge them, they tend to crinkle a little bit, which is perfectly fine with me. I don't have a problem with it. But they crinkle a little bit, so if you just run a dry brush of gold across the top, it kind of gives it a little bit more texture. Alright, you can get to really see how it's starting to look. And I'm just going to run the dry brush that I had with a little leftover gold across the orchids as well. And I will tell you, going back, you know, everything, hindsight's always 20/20, and I wish I hadn't put quite so much gold on the cross, but I think that in the end it came out really, really well. So you can see I'm putting the cardboard into the back of the frame, and that was really difficult to fit it in. It was really stubborn. Okay, now I could have left it like this because I love the way this came out. It was actually very pretty, but nope, gotta be extra, gotta do it all. So at this point I started looking at it, deciding what I wanted to do with it. So I was looking, and the gold it was a bit much for me. So I went back with this dark eggplant color. And by the way, the colors that I'm using are Americana or Dixie Belle. Those are, you know, and I put them in the little paint pots just to make it easier for me to move around. And I do mix my own colors a lot of times. So I did mix my own eggplant color. And I'm going around the cross to add, you know, the dimension and to make it more antique looking. And I ended up going around the edges so that you could see it better, because I felt like you couldn't tell that it was, you know, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional whenever I was looking at it. So you can see I'm adding the darkness around the edges of the piece. And then I go back and I also paint the edges of the cross, because it is, you know, it is going to be on the outside of the frame and not the inside. And that is the thing, I'll tell you, you know, never limit yourself to doing your art only behind the glass. You know, always try to come out and do something a little different. So now you can see I've got it all finished, and I'm going to add it to my frame. And this, I hope, will probably go in my sister's bedroom. Now, the cross actually fit really good in this frame, and I really didn't even need glue because it would have just sat in there perfectly, but I decided to add a little dab of glue just to make sure it didn't fall out if something should happen. So now I'm going to go back and use that same eggplant color that I had put on the cross, and I wanted to highlight, because this frame actually has a really pretty raised pieces around the edges, and I wanted that to be highlighted so you could see it a lot better, and it would also go with the artwork that I did. I hope you've enjoyed these crafts today. Please leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Please hit the subscribe and the notification bell so that you don't miss our videos that'll come out at least by every Thursday. I may even come out with some sooner. But that way, if you get that notification bell, you'll know what's coming. So you can see this paint is not a super thick paint. It's kind of a thin acrylic paint. Nothing special about it. It's just an eggplant color, and I'm just evenly coating it as much as possible on the edges of the frame. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight or anything like that. It covers pretty well, and because I'm going to wipe it anyways. I'm going to wipe it off. And what this does is it puts the paint down in the crevices and not on the top. So that way it highlights the look of the frame. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this. And stay tuned for a minute or two more, and you can see the final picture. Now here I'm just drying it really well because this is a very slick frame, and anytime you use acrylic on something super slick, you want to make sure you dry it as soon as possible so that it will stick. I know there are primers and stuff, but I would like the color of the frame, so I really didn't want to do any of that. So what do you think? Tell me, let me know. Leave a comment. This is how the final product ended up looking. Hi, did you click that subscribe button and the notification bell? Well, if you don't hit that notification bell, you will miss out on our Thursday videos. So please go ahead, click it, and you'll be able to watch our videos that are coming up.